It started kind of subtle for a kid of nearly 10. The winter wind was sharper than I remembered it had been. The spring of 1950 came with flowers busting out, but they withered when the mercury hit 100 thereabout. April showers were a myth that year, a couplet from a rhyme that brought flowers out in May, no doubt, but in a distant clime. Vacation seemed to drag, and dread of starting school that fall was eclipsed by July's hellish heat and August's dusty pall. Of course the rains a-comin' was the promise every day, but the clouds evaporated with the clover and the hay. The grass soon turned to tinder, and the price of feed went up. The doe dried up and lost her fawn. The vixen lost her pup. A splash of autumn's colors signaled respite from the heat, but the dust of dying crops were silent sermons of defeat. I thought that Christmas holidays would cheer the neighborhood, but a gloomy apprehension told a tale I understood. The rancher's independence makes him think he's self-reliant. Malls need lots of customers, and builders need a client. Airlines need their passengers to make a little gain, but ultimately they're all fried if drought dries up the rain. And rain it didn't, except a little shower here and there, till rain became the subject of each story, thought, and prayer. Old hens that sat and gossiped talked of Dust Bowl situations, and barbers' clips and snips were filled with droughty conversations. Then someone said he'd heard folks gripe about several droughts per year, and prophesied the one that lasts for several years is here. He got a look of scorn from every rancher in the room, because they all had feared it but refused to face their doom. The rains of spring in '51 bid Texas fond farewell, making May a rancher's nightmare and July a dusty hell. Little tornadoes donned a dusty devil's guise that a Pentecostal preacher couldn't bind or exorcise. In '52, the Californians griped, "The rain won't stop." They cursed the floods in Kansas, said, "Too wet to reap our crop." It rained real good in Oregon, and Vermont got twice its share, but the folks in Texas didn't get no moisture anywhere. In '53, precipitation totaled one snowball. It forgot the spring and summer and just laughed about the fall. Winter's fabled northers came in brown instead of blue, and the countryside itself took on a toasty tater's hue. In '54, the farmers didn't even try to plow. The dirt was hard as granite, so they couldn't anyhow. From Houston to El Paso, the pastures were all bare. The dogies and the feeble died. Their bones were everywhere. In '55 and '56, the ranchers came to town. Some tried to drown their sorrows, but their sorrows wouldn't drown. They got real good at dominoes and great at 42, and ignored their many troubles. But their troubles wasn't through. One more year of agony before the drought would break made 1957 harder than all the rest to take. The cynic and the optimist agreed in malediction, while the ranchers and the farmers suffered silent crucifixion. The sands of Kalahari sting the oryx's calloused nose. The camels of Sahara feel the fiery wind that blows. In the outback of Australia, aborigines dig deep just to get a sip of water where it used to freely seep. But Texans all rejoiced at last in 1958, though for one of them, the rains that finally came were just too late. We buried Dad that summer, 'neath a neatly rendered mound, and tears and rain abundantly came, and finally watered the ground.